Okay, we're going to call the April 27th, 2026 meeting of the Edenton Town Council to order. At this time, we're going to go through the agenda. The first agenda item is Edenton Preservation Committee candidate interviews. I would like all the candidates to know that we have three of the four here, and we would like to hear from the three that are here tonight. And then we will table this until our next meeting, so the fourth applicant has the opportunity to come before us, and will probably take action sometime thereafter. We appreciate everybody's interest in this. It's nice but difficult for us to have four applicants for one vacancy, and I'm going to call each of you to the podium in the order in which you appear on my memorandum regarding the matter. So the first person is Ed Ross. Ed, are you here?
I am.
And Ed, as you're coming up, all the candidates, we'd just like to hear from you as to why you have an interest in this particular committee and why you think you would do a good job on this committee. And from time to time, we do have questions of you, so once you're finished, don't walk away until we decide whether we have any questions. Okay, Ed?
All right. This is my first job interview in 40 years, so I'm a little rusty. Well, my wife and I moved here 6 years ago from Connecticut, and we never entertained the idea of having an historic house in a historic town like Edenton. And since we've been here, I feel it's my responsibility, one, to make our house, as stewards of the house, fit, when it was built. And I want to give back to the community. I think it's just my responsibility. I enjoy working with committees. I worked with a number of people as a manager at UPS, and different personalities, and coming up with a consensus and getting the job done. But we've done a couple things with our house and come before the committee, and I think it plays a vital role in a town like this.
Ed, are you on the tree committee now, by chance?
I don't know if it's official yet, but I volunteered to do it. Prior to UPS, my field was horticulture. I had a nursery business, so.
And Craig, that's an excellent question, and it kind of brings to mind one benefit of only having three of the four applicants here tonight. It gives us some time. We obviously can't choose four people, but there may be other openings on other committees where these same people could serve the town well. So we'll definitely use the opportunity as we table this matter into May to look at those opportunities. Any more questions?
I'm glad you're here. It's a really important committee. I mean, Anne Marie sent me a reminder yesterday. I think y'all all saw that Kadish was restored after a multi-million-dollar campaign that took 23 years. But today, a contractor came in here and approached the Preservation Commission to try to get them to give them a demolition permit early on. And I mean, the importance of working through those processes are incredible. So, I mean, I think that Eden's like it is because, in part, this commission is this committee is so important. So thank you.
Okay, any more questions or comments about Ed?
Thank you for your flowers.
Oh, you're welcome.
They're beautiful.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
They'll be out in a couple of weeks.
Okay, Ed, thank you. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cheryl Orr. Cheryl?
Good evening. I began being interested in historical architecture probably around college, but I began master's work in architecture in Chicago when I lived there at Harrington School of Design. And then I had an untimely divorce and went to Charleston and took care of my mother down there. And I really became interested in historical architecture at that time, and was a trained docent for the historic home tours. And then I moved to Edenton, and we bought the Spade House in 2016. And my work in architectural design was really helpful to me. I created all of the drawings to redo the State House. And I worked closely with Reed Thomas, that was on the National Registry. And we actually won an award through the EHC, the board, let's see, the Bricks and Boards Award in 2021. So it's very important to keep that house in its original character, even though it's not within the historic district, since it was on the registry. And we live now in the cotton mill after selling that home, which is in the district area. And I see that the district was widened twice since it was established. And I don't know if you're ever considering expanding those boundaries again. I think it's important to keep the town in good shape, and I do understand the importance of this. And I don't know if y'all got to see my resume. I have an extensive resume of board and volunteer work throughout my life. And currently I'm on the vestry at St. Paul's, and I'll be off, this is my 3rd year. And have some time to really devote to this, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. Any questions?
I'm amazed you had any time.
Oh no, I don't work in a restaurant anymore, so I've got more time. I'm just doing private.
Well, I
Private
appreciate the
events.
fact you know all about the national district, the National Register District versus the town district. And I agree, we need to continue to expand those districts, because I think they've been really instrumental in almost everything we've done.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions or comments of Cheryl? Cheryl, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
your
There's a lot
interest.
of great candidates for this, and I hope if another opening comes up too, you'll consider me for that as well.
And we'll certainly stay in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person on our list is Lucas Belton. Lucas, come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For those of you who do know me and those of you who don't, we have a quick rundown. I have 28 years experience in the construction industry. A lot of focus here once we moved here 5 years ago. I went to work for Dawson Tyler Down East Preservation, set up the millworks and the wood shop with the intention of being able to duplicate all the millworks and trims that we found here in town instead of having it done by others. And in August of 2025, I started my own business focusing on reclaimed, locally sourced rough milled lumber, artifact lumber, and architectural artifacts to be able to have a supply of replacement material basically for some of the projects that we're here in town. Preservation, conservation, reusing and recycling the materials out of a lot of projects from the 3 counties around us is our goal. My interest in being part of this committee was because I felt like it was with my experience, and a whole lot left to learn, but with my experience and what I saw here in this town from a preservation standpoint, it's a lot of standing structures and preserved structures that a lot of other places do not have, and I think it's important to save all of them that are important, not just to one group of people, but to everybody. So that's, my people management skills are nowhere near what Ed came with, that's for sure. Ed's awesome and Cheryl's wonderful. So, if you'd like to be considered for it, if you felt like it was a good position for me, a good fit for me.
Your years of restoration, what other communities did you know?
Charlotte, I was based in Charlotte.
What did you do? What did you do there?
This Construction Management of Charlotte was the name of the company. They focused on historic preservation in Dilworth, Myers Park, and South Park area, but preservation in Charlotte means you keep the front of the building and everything behind it could be changed to whatever design you wanted. We only really save the facades of the houses, not the actual structure. There was a lot of leeway in it. And I didn't like that. Like, it felt like if you were saving the structure, then the structure was what was important, not just what the front of it looked like.
You've sort of done great, everybody has with their houses. Some of your houses have been great. The Trident, everything y'all done has been really wonderful, and a big asset to the town.
Thank you, Olivia.
And you now have a new business?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Process to reclaim on Peanut Drive.
okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's going well?
It is going well.
Good.
It's growth, first year growth of the company, but we're getting the materials that we were hoping to source. We're making the connections with local sources and sawyers that we were hoping to have. So that was our first year's goal really was getting established and making all those connections.
Right, okay. Well, sounds good. Any other comments or questions of Lucas? Lucas, thank you, and I'd like to echo what Lucas and Cheryl both said. It's very nice to have such qualified candidates come before us. And y'all don't make our job very easy, the three of you, but I do appreciate your interest and thank y'all for being here tonight. And as I mentioned in my opening comments, we'll stay in touch with you guys, and this next 2-week period will give us an opportunity to take a look at some opportunities maybe outside this committee. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a special presentation from St. Vincent de Paul with Lisa Solomon. Each year, we ask some of our partners, our nonprofit partners, to come before us and give a special presentation about what the last year has looked like for them and what the coming year looks like for them. And this is a project that is dear to my heart, and I'm glad that we support this particular project. And I'd ask Lisa to come forward to give us more information and share with us her slide deck.
Hi. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. I'm currently the president of the Society of St. Anne, St. Vincent de Paul Conference. Thank you for your continued support the last few years with St. Vincent de Paul. It has meant a lot to us and the community. We thankfully received $5,000 from the town of Edenton the first year and $7,500 from the town of Edenton the second year to help our Edenton neighbors. Your generosity is greatly appreciated from St. Vincent de Paul and also our neighbors. People want to know, how are we different from other nonprofit organizations? We are a faith-first organization. We serve people in need regardless of creed, ethnic, or social background, health, gender, citizenship, and political opinions. We are enabled to help the poor spontaneously and more effectively, free from excessive bureaucracy. Vincentians, as we are called, offer tangible assistance to those in need, on a person-to-person basis during the home visit that we go on. How are we funded? 100% of our funding has come from the generosity of St. Anne parishioners, Vincentians, Town of Edenton, and also in-kind donations. Our minimal overhead is $1,425.55 per year, and this includes insurance, bank fees, and office supplies. And the $690.30 that you see up there, rounded to $700, is basically what we pay for t-shirts for our annual Friends of the Poor 5K run walk in historic Edenton, which will be September 26th of this year. We've had 2 fundraising events this year so far. The first was in February. It was a king cake and coffee event at our church, and we offered more advocacy, explaining to the community what we are and who we help, and also we accepted donations at that time. The second fundraiser we had is the National Pie Day, and it was held on National Pie Day, which was a Saturday. And we collected pies from the community, and we sold those pies for $10 each, and we had over 50 pies donated to us, so that was a really good fundraiser. And of course, we have our annual Friends of the Poor walk. And I'd like to thank Craig Miller and Mayor Hack for speaking at the Friends of the Poor walk the previous years that we've had it, and we are hoping to have a speaker this year as well. Our impact on the community. This slide is a breakdown of what St. Vincent de Paul has paid out in the 10 months. July 1st, 2025 to April 20th, 2026. I'd like to highlight 2 things. The first is the total aid in Chuan County, which is $38,676, And this includes $7,500, which was donated by the town of Edenton for the town of Edenton neighbors, for their utilities. And also, and this include, okay, sorry. And the second I'd like to point out is the total amount paid for the 5 counties that we serve. The 5 counties are Terrell, Washington, Chowan, Bertie, and Perquimans County. And that total is $75,000. So as you can see, that's quite a bit of money that we have put out the last 10 months to help neighbors in our community. As small as we are, this would not be made possible without your support and our donor support. God has blessed this ministry, truly has blessed us over the past few years. What do we need? The need is great and continues to utilize our resources of time, treasure, and talent. Prayers for those suffering in a time of crises. Additional Vincentians to call and advocate for our friends in need. Continuing contributions to support this ministry, including both private and corporate contributions. We're hoping for your continued support for the conference and our neighbors in Edenton. Again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity for me to speak here today. We appreciate your generous past support.
And
Thank
Lisa,
you.
if my math is correct, is that over $100,000 worth of aid, just in the 10 months? When I look at out of county, in county,
Yes.
Edenton? Yes.
Yes, we serve and we pay out quite a bit of funds.
And if you will, I'm sure we'll see the signs around town and the public notices, but if you'll remind us as September 26th grows near, if I'm in town, I'll certainly participate in the run and we'll certainly
Great.
speak
That
again if
makes
I'm
2 of us,
available.
that makes 2 of us.
Thank you so much.
2 of us.
Thank you.
And
We
also, thank
appreciate
you for
it.
being kind enough not to report my 5K time.
That was my question.
Great, thank you so much for giving me the time here.
Thank you, Lisa.
Appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much.
We appreciate you. Next on our agenda, we have a similar presentation from another one of our partners, nonprofit, Edenton Historic Commission, and we're pleased to have Robert Leaf, the Executive Director, here tonight to give us this report. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Okay. So I want to begin by just repeating what Lisa said and really express the gratitude of the Edenton Historical Commission to you for your annual support. It really means a lot to us and everything we do. I chose to begin with this image for sort of 3 different reasons. One, this is America's 250th anniversary year. It's a big event in Edenton where we're going to celebrate history, but it also conjures the importance of historic preservation. This image has the Thomas Barker House in the background, which, as you know, operates as the welcome center for the town of Edenton for visitors, where we oversee visitor orientation services and weekly trolley tours to orient people to Edenton and all that it has historically. And then finally, I think this image kind of symbolizes in some way how historic preservation is really on the march in the town of Edenton. You've already heard the fact that I think a lot of people are going to say that yesterday was really a highlight, in this town. A 4-year effort to complete the restoration of Kadesh Church, beginning the work 4 years ago. But all in all, if you go back to the tragedy of Hurricane Isabel, really a 23-year community effort that has finally come to fruition. Here you see the images I think I shared with you last year when Down East Preservation was completing the recreation of the original bell tower steeple that we knew only from historic photographs. That's a great overhead look at the sort of the beautiful symmetry of the construction and design of that. But at that moment, one of the great miracles was that this 18,000-pound structure had to be lifted up into the air
and then lowered onto the bell tower of Cadiz Church. And that was really just about 1 year ago. Yesterday, what people got to see was the completed exterior and the completed interior in all of its glory, including the restoration of the original light fixtures. Let's see here. The restoration of the original light fixtures at the top, as well as much of the altar rail and altar furniture, which took pride of place with yesterday's consecration service with the bishop. The choir was back in its place in all of its glory, added tremendous music to the event. And I think another one of the great examples of sort of community spirit and all that is that in the very front of this image, you're looking at the only surviving original pew from the Hurricane Isabel disaster. And all of those pews in the background were a gift to Cadiz Church from St. George's Orthodox Church. As many of you know, St. George's occupies the building that was the historic St. John's African American Episcopal Church, and it still has, and it's a remarkable building with a remarkable interior and so many of its original furnishings, and they were willing to donate 18 of the early historic pews of that church to Cadiz. I think a remarkable demonstration of community spirit. So, you know, when the project began, there were really just sort of two original goals. That was basically to restore the sanctuary that had been heavily damaged in the hurricane, and to restore the stained glass windows. But what I'm happy to report to you is not only were we able to do those two things, but I think there are 4 other very important things we were able to do to elevate the importance of the Cadiz Restoration Project even farther. With Ed Goodwin's help, we received the funding to completely restore the parsonage, with all the benefit of that to the East Gale Street restoration project that has been an important, identified as an important historic neighborhood for attention in Edenton for the last decade or more. We were able to restore the original bell tower steeple, as you saw before. We were able to do original paint research. The same paint analyst we brought in to work at the Cupel House, we took her over to Cadiz Church. She took samples, and she was the one who identified that this is the original blue color of the interior, and we were able to put that back in a way that was really magical. I mean, suddenly you understood what that church would have been like around 1900 when the Hannibal Batten family had completed its construction and those original stained glass windows were there with that amazing blue paint. And then we were able to restore the original herringbone pattern beaded board ceiling. So from the standpoint of historic preservation, I think Edenton has succeeded in completing, with the help of private donors, with the help of the National Fund for Sacred Spaces, from the National Trust, and with the help of state government funding, a really top-notch restoration project that would really stand up to anything nationally. We were able to accomplish those 2 original goals, but really quickly move beyond those with several others. The Cadiz project, a year ago, you would have been looking at this, where they were ripping out at the Brooklyn Museum the original Cupel House woodwork, and just as in 1918, it had been loaded into a train car and shipped to New York City. After this project was over, it was loaded into a box truck and came back to Edenton. But now, as we begin to sort of wrap up the reinstallation of the original woodwork, we have even more appreciation for how beautiful it is, how architecturally ambitious it is, and how nationally important it really is. And it's beginning to draw tremendous attention nationwide. Our completion dates, by June 1st of this year, we expect to have all of the interior woodwork completely installed. So basically that will be completed in time for the 4th of July. Then there'll be some follow-up plaster repairs, and then being able to repaint the house, its entire 18th century color scheme. And our goal is to have that done by December 1st. So that will be done in time for Christmas. So 4th of July and Christmas, we're very much integrating these completion dates with those celebratory town dates. But the Cupel House project is already getting national attention in magazines, such as you see here. And a lot of this culminated a few weeks ago in the first ever Edenton Preservation Seminar. It was a 2-day event, March 20th through 21st. It was underwritten by the Jim Red Foundation, but really brought together all of the historical entities in a great way to support it with the Historical Commission, the Elizabeth Van Moore Foundation, the Cupola House Association, State Historic Sites, and the Jim Red Foundation itself. And you can see how in 2 days we allowed preservationists to come to Edenton and learn about everything we're doing and appreciate how important it was. There was a total audience of about 120. We were completely sold out. We were sold out practically 2 months ahead of time. But it included Colonial Williamsburg's entire architectural research team. All 5 of them came, leading preservationists from South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland. But it's fair to say that we had 12 international speakers looking at 6 historic sites here in Edenton in 1 small town. And we purposefully sort of titled the seminar, Innovating Preservation in Small Town America. And that was meant to be a double entendre. Are we saying that historic preservation innovates small towns? Or are we saying small towns have the ability to innovate historic preservation? Because of our commitment to heritage and architecture and preservation, as we like to say here, you know, historic preservation is good for business in Edenton. So to what degree do small towns get to leverage historic preservation in unique and important ways? Oh, I thought there was one more image. Yeah, here we go. A lot of this came out of a 3-day field trip that we reported on last year, where once again the Jim Red Foundation brought the Clemson Graduate Program in historic preservation with 12 students and 3 faculty members plus 3 of their staff members. Here you see that team exploring this building. One of the things that was revealed at the preservation seminar was the scientific report of a dendrochronologist who had worked at Hayes, who was able to say that this building we now know dates to 1769-70. That got reported on social media by the Elizabeth Van Moore Foundation, and within 3 days turned into news stories in the Charlotte Observer, the Greensboro News and Record, and the Raleigh News and Observer. So 3 different statewide newspapers picked up that factoid and ran with it with statewide stories. So I think all of that really underscores how historic preservation is so important to Edenton's identity. It's not just important to its past, but it's important to its future. And we're honored to get to work with you on the full range of projects that are a part of that. I'd be happy to take any questions.
One great thing, that Robert will never say anything that he did, but when the original architects came to Cadiz, they had this great big L on the back that they had, or addition they were gonna build, and he took one look at it and said, that needs, you know, cover up those windows and messed up the whole view. And so within 5 minutes, he, you know, not being an architect, he was able to fix what they had done and really spent the next, 2 years fixing everything that hadn't quite gotten off.
Well, it kind of, you know, it began with bats and pigeons. You know, the first thing we had to do was to get rid of the bat and pigeon infestation in the building. That was a major effort. It was really bad, and it took a lot of months. So that was
every bat in Eden was in there.
yeah.
And what did we spend on that?
It was more than a little.
Yeah.
It was more than a little. I think some people could think about going into bat and pigeon remediation as a career based on some of that. But you know, once we could address that, we could move into the restoration proper. First, stabilize the building. That required a lot of steel structural support. But then moving into the real nuts and bolts of great historic preservation, where we could look at the original colors, look at the original ceiling, look at the original steeple, and recreate it. But it really was kind of amazing that even though recreated, it weighed 18,000 pounds. We were able to get it lifted back onto that building and put back in place.
Was that done in one afternoon, or one day, or?
It took 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
It was, there was a whole assembled crowd,
Okay.
but once that crane started lifting it up, it didn't take very long, and then it had to get it, so the clearance, and then swing it over
Yeah.
and start bringing it down, and it really, and so all of these students from Clemson and the American College of the Building Arts in Charleston were all here Benjamin Briggs, as head of preservation North Carolina, was here to watch it. But Down East Preservation did have to have its crew inside the bell tower, grabbing the ropes as the steeple came down to guide it so that it landed in exactly the perfect spot. And I did not have that job.
We've been mighty lucky to have Robert here. He's
Yes.
overqualified for the job. He came here because he loved Edenton, and we hope you still like it.
We like having you
Even
here.
more.
We like
Even
having
more.
you here too.
Sorry?
We like having you here too.
Well, thank you, thank you. The only thing I regret is that I've heard that there are great things in Tulsa that Edenton doesn't have. But maybe one day I'll get to experience that as well.
Well, thank you,
so much.
Robert. Are there any more comments or questions? I echo what Sambo said. We're so glad you're here and so fortunate to have somebody of your expertise here leading this organization. Our next agenda item is a Fair Housing Month proclamation. For the general public, I'd like to read that proclamation. April is recognized nationally as Fair Housing Month, commemorating the passage of the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which prohibits discrimination in housing based upon race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, and family status. The town of Edenton is committed to promoting equal housing opportunities and fostering inclusive communities where all residents have access to safe, affordable, and fair housing. The staff recommends that the town council adopt the Fair Housing proclamation recognizing April as Fair Housing Month in the town of Edenton. I would entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we will enter that proclamation into our records and be happy to do so. The next, we move from our special meeting into our committee meetings, and the next item is the Utilities Committee to discuss an economic development rider number 1. And Mayor Pro Tem Bond, I assume you don't have any objection to me handing that over to our town manager to lead our discussion. All right, we've got Councilman Bond's blessings to hand that over to Corey Goodman. So Corey, you can take over from here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bond. So the Economic Development Rider number 1, EDCR number 1, is something that I have been working with the Utilities Committee on and our partners at Electricities to consider as we've been focused on economic development, particularly for us. If you've known over the last really 24 months or more, we haven't seemed to have a problem with some of the smaller spaces, but some of the larger spaces are the ones that still remain to be vacant, including the Hotel Hinton, the Gordon's building, as well as the shopping center. So one of the things that they have shared with us that we have looked at as a tool to help bring businesses and to bring ventures in those spaces is the rider that was presented in your packet. There's really 2 key takeaways from this rider, particularly if a new commercial or industrial load includes service to an existing unoccupied building, having been unoccupied for a minimum of at least 12 consecutive months and is being put back in service by a new customer. Also, knowing the size of these buildings and the potential power use, the second condition for this would be that during peak monthly demand, that a new load must equal or exceed 250 kW during at least 4 of 12 months while they're in the building to be eligible. So those are the 2, and when we look at the structure for the application of credit, basically this would be a 10-year term with a 5-year credit for really startup in months 1 through 12 at a 25% discount on demand cost. Months 13 through 24 at 20, months 25 through 36 at 15, months 37 through 48 at 10, and then months 49 through 60 down to 5. So over a 10-year period, there would really kind of be a deflated balloon as they work towards being more of a long-term customer. Again, this would be kind of a 10-year contract period with that customer to agree. And basically, as we've been working through budget and we're still trying to occupy these spaces, this was one of the tools that our electricity's partners did share with us that could help incentivize some of those large spaces, you know, anything 20,000 square feet or larger, really. If this was adopted, this would, action would be taken at our May 12th meeting. And for simplicity's sake, as we work through this upcoming year's fiscal year budget planning, that it would not become effective until July 1st to align with our budget. I wanted to share this with the full council, and my recommendation, as well as Mayor Pro Tem Bond, would be to send this to full council.
Are there many other electricity customers utilizing that rider?
Yes, we did get a list of other municipal locations that have done this, particularly for larger spaces, to really try to get a customer back in.
Did it help?
It has, yes.
And this particular process has passed the test of time that enough communities have done it over time where electricity feels good
Yes,
about recommending it and a good likelihood of success.
that's correct.
Okay.
What happens if the business shuts down after year 2?
Basically, if any of the, these conditions are breached, then it'll be null and void.
Okay.
So it's sort of a tilt.
In
a way.
Yeah,
I mean-
it mimics that. And this is something, that, council does have statutory authority to consider, for these large spaces. For us, we do feel like this could be one more tool to put in our toolbox to get some of these larger spaces reoccupied.
So a great incentive tool.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments of our town manager? If there's no objection to the recommendation being made by Councilman Bond and also our town manager, we'll just forward this to our May meeting for consideration at the full council meeting. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
The next agenda item is a closed session per North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3. We are going to entertain a motion to go into closed session to consult with the town attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege to discuss a matter that involves potential litigation to which the town may be a party. At this time, I'd entertain a motion and second for us to go.
Second.
We've got a motion and second. All in favor of going into closed session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're about to go into closed session. Thank you to everyone for being here, as always. Glad to have you here. Wayne? We ready, Murray? Okay, we're back in open session. There was no action taken in closed session. There's no further business of this body at tonight's meeting, and so I'd entertain a motion for us to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all right, got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, our meeting's closed. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Murray. Thank you, AJ. Thank you.
I don't know what to do.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary.